Hello, now we're going to talk about first step in the sales process, meet and greet. So, why is this important? This is the base of your sales process, okay? This is where you will set the tone for the whole interaction. It could go smooth and you'll be able just to keep the customer on the rails of the process, or it can start rocky and then you'll have to push a lot to put it back on track. There's the saying that's 100% true. That's, technically true that you don't get a second chance to make the first impression. You can try to fix it. We can fix our perception in the eyes of another, but it's difficult. And the first impression is important. The purpose of the meet and greet, of the right meet and greet, is again, you want to slow them down because your process will take time. You cannot let the customer just jump from one thing to the next and go, how much is this car? How much is this lease? You slow them down, you get them on the process, and then the customer is happier, you're happier, everything goes well. Uh, in sales process, we actually use hypnosis. It's not hypnosis like they do in circus with a watch, with a clock that's ticking and people do stupid things. No, but you use questions, you use your tone of voice to change the customer's state and to get them thinking about what you want them to think about. Okay, it's not manipulative because you just want them to, you want to guide them in their sales process because you're the professional. You know how it needs to be done. You do this every day. They do this once, hopefully every 3 years, more often, even not as often. And meet and greet will prepare them for next steps, which discuss separately. So first, before you go and actually meet and greet the customer, what state are you in? Are you ready to meet the customer? Okay. Are you tired? Do you have the time? What happened just before? Did you get into a fight with your spouse, with the manager? Did you just have a bad interaction with the customer on the phone or in person? Or are you ready? So again, we'll do a separate video for that about how to manage your own state. But think about this. What is your state coming in? What about the time? Because if, let's say, your shift ends at 5, or it's about the store's about to close and you're already thinking about your plans after work, where you're going to go for a drink, what are you going to have for dinner, you want to try to sneak out early, what's going to be your question in mind and how it's going to affect your interaction if you're thinking, okay, I have 15 minutes. In these 15 minutes, I need to quickly see if there's a chance of me selling him a car or if there's somebody that's not going to buy and then I hope that in 15 minutes I can just write them off and leave and have them leave. So, even just if you think about this, of course, it's not going to be great interaction. It's not great use of dealership resources and it's not a good use of your time. And some salespeople even do that. They go and greet customers when they have another customer waiting or another customer in finance. So yeah, you want to be efficient, but still it has to be the balance between your efficiency and you being able to devote your full attention to the customer. And then the next thing you have to think about, what is your intention when you greet the customer? What is your question? So I already mentioned about your time. So if you looking at the customer, but in your head you're thinking, I have 15 minutes. Is 15 minutes going to be enough for what's going on here for me to see whether it's a right customer or will I be able to get rid of this customer? So how do you think that interaction is going to go? People feel what you think. People feel your intention. If you look at them and start thinking, are they a buyer? Then they're going to feel that and they're going to feel like a commodity, like a product, instead of feeling like you really care about them. So that could be one of your intentions. Another intention, and we fall into this trap when we set goals of, ironically, you would think that your goal is to sell cars. Yeah, your goal is to sell cars, but you cannot set your goal as to sell a car. If your goal is to sell one car today and it's 4 p.m. and this might be your last customer, again, you look at this customer like a dog looks at a piece of steak. Are you going to buy a car? What can I do to put you into whatever I have in the fastest way. So again, this is something customers feel. Instead of that, try to change your intention. And change your intention, here are a couple of examples. How can I make this a great experience? How can I get a perfect review on Google or on Yelp from this customer that he's going to mention my name? How can I be the most helpful? How can I, and this will blow your mind, and this will change, this could change your whole career if you really think and make this your goal. When you first meet a customer, make this your goal to make this customer your friend. Make this your goal to make this customer accept you as a friend on Facebook, on LinkedIn, whatever. Make plans to go out, not obviously not talking about a date, but just if this is your goal, how do you think your interaction is going to go? I mean, it doesn't mean you will get friends, you will become friends. It will be kind of weird if you become friends with every customer. But if this is your goal, the unintended, but really intended, but in this scenario, unintended consequence will be that you actually will be much easier for you to sell a car. You are much more likely to sell them a car. All right. So let's say you do all of these things right, you are ready and you prepped yourself and you have enough time, you're not worried about leaving, and then the interaction doesn't go right, okay? The customer is not ready, they come with wrong questions, they cannot be controlled at all, they just refuse to answer anything, they just, whatever, right? What a lot of people think, okay, this approach doesn't work. I'm not going to do this anymore. They take this as a fail. They take this personally. They let this affect them, and they stop doing this. There's this old joke about a patient going to a doctor and complains that, doctor, my whole body itches. Everything itches. The doctor looks at him kind of like suspicious and says, have you tried showering? The guy says, I did try showering. And did it help? Yeah, it helped for a few days, for like a week, but then it's itching again. So it's not exactly the same. It's a funny joke. The idea is that things might not work out, but treat this as percentages, treat this as a sport, as kind of something that has a known element, like a card game, like a game of poker. And I love this metaphor, but I repeat this in every video. You know what to do in poker when you have 2 and 7, and you know what to do when you have pocket aces, okay? You know that you need to play the aces, and you know that you probably should not play, or at least not to bet a lot on 2 and 7, okay? Does this mean that pocket ace is going to win 100% of the time? No. And does it mean that you cannot win with 2 and 7? That's not what it means. But these are your percentages. This is the game of percentages. If you do things right, if you improve your percentages, even by a little bit, the effects of it will be just, it's like a geometrical progression. And after every interaction, another good idea is at least to think, but best will be if you actually have a journal and write down, okay, I had this up to date, I met this customer, this is how it went. This is what I did well. This is what I could do better next time. Okay, that's it. And then every interaction has a benefit to you. Every interaction is a win. It's not a failure. You didn't lose anything, but by not selling him a car, you learn something from this. Okay, so again, just changing your thinking about the whole, changes your framing about the whole experience and the whole interaction. All right, so now let's actually get to what's going on when the customer comes in. So same as you need to think about your state, think about the customer state. Somebody that walks in, no appointment, no referral, somebody walks in, just parked at the lot, walks into the dealership. So they probably had to drive. While they were driving, there was probably traffic. They probably, if it's, by the time of the day, you can figure out that maybe they came off work. If you see it's a family with kids, you can assume they're already a little bit stressed from driving in the car with the kids. So understand their state. Understand that they might be hungry, they might be thirsty. And like one thing that we do, what I always did when I had an appointment and I knew that customer comes from at least not from the city, from out of town. First thing when you come in, I kind of either ask or tell them, we have restroom right upstairs. Do you guys need a break before we start everything? it can change, it can make a huge difference. It can turn the whole experience 180 degrees, because now from them thinking about, I need to pee within the next 15 minutes, and this guy is asking me questions and drilling me with stuff while all I'm thinking about is how can I get to the restroom, and I'm embarrassed to ask, to, wow, now I feel comfortable. Now they go through the dealership, and you will talk about why that's important. They go through a dealership, they relieve themselves. Now they can breathe. Okay, now the whole state changed. Think about yourself. What happened if you sit in the car and you forgot to pee before you started driving, then you get somewhere, then you finally get to pee? How do you feel after that? It's one of the best feelings in the world. All right? So think about their state and think about things you can do to change their state. People love when other people that can change their state, and that's your job. Your job is to change their state so you can influence them. Changing their state is, if somebody was upset and stressed and you make them comfortable and a little bit happy and give them a water, maybe a Coke and cookie or whatever, suddenly they stay changed. They're going to translate, they're going to transfer that feeling, that enjoyment of state change to you. They're going to like you more. All right? So another thing to think about is when people come in, like one of the things that's like a meme in the sales community, what do people say when they come in? You ask them, how can I help you? We're just looking. What is that? Are they just looking? I mean, they drove here. They drove here. There's 2 of them in the car, maybe 3 with kids. They're not just looking. But what's going on is, think about, we are animals. Think about other animals. If you have pets, dogs or cats, doesn't matter. What happens when you bring a dog or a cat into new environment, new house? Okay. First thing they want to do, they want to go around. They want to check everything. They want to make sure there's no threat anywhere. They want to get familiar with the environment, and only then they can start getting comfortable. We are animals. Okay. You think you're people. You think you're different. You're not different. Okay. And those people, your customers, are not different. They come into the dealership for the first time. Okay. They were stressed driving in. They were stressed parking. Finally, they parked. Now they don't know where to walk in, where the cars are. They're all confused. We once bought a condo. When I first walked into that condo, that place, it was pretty big. It was 2,400 square feet. It was a very confusing layout because it was a corner unit. And the previous owners had mirrors, way too many mirrors. And what mirrors do, they just change your perspective and you cannot figure out where is what. So what do I remember for that first time going in? Remember that I could not remember anything. I just could not figure out anything what was going on because the place was confusing and I was just thrown into it. Nobody walked me through this. And same thing. Somebody walks in, they're just looking, even whether they tell you they're just looking or sometimes they just ignore you and start walking around. Absolutely, let them do that, but just track them and, just think about how you can help them. For example, one thing that's important is instead of confronting somebody that's in this mode and a little bit defensive animal mode, is instead of facing them like this, as I'm facing the camera, try approaching them like this. Hey guys, hey, welcome. We have new cars over here and used cars over there. If you need a restroom break, that's upstairs on the 2nd floor. Okay, if you need some water, and we'll just be here around. So if you have any questions, just come and see me. And then you can turn to asking questions. Are you here to see a new car, used car? Did you have an appointment? Then you can ask, can I help you with anything? Maybe I can help you look around. Okay, so again, let them do that. Walk them through, introduce them to the dealership. Okay, just again, make it comfortable, understand what's going through their mind. Next thing that's really important, it's kind of tough and it's a judgment call on when you do that, but you have to log them in. Okay, this is in any sales environment, but specifically in car sales, because when somebody walks in, they're not in the system. We don't know what they are, who they are, what's going on. As soon as it's possible, and I'm not saying as soon as they came in, but as soon as it's reasonably comfortable, you have to log them in. You definitely log them in before you start a demo, that's for sure. But if there's a way to direct the conversation so you can sit down at your desk, or maybe if you have like a greeter stand or if you have it on your phone, or if you have a tablet, uh, just have you guys been here before? Have you serviced your car? Just let me see, maybe I can find your file. If not, can I log you in just so we have records of your visit? Something like that. And again, this is not maybe not the right moment to do that right when they came in, but remember that you have to do this. This is crucial. And I had one of my sales trainers kept repeating this thing, and I took it to heart. How you do one thing is how you do everything, which means is that in this scenario means that if you start judging, okay, I should log this customer, I should not log this customer. Maybe if I just give this guy a card, good chances he will contact me and he will remember who I am, and maybe when they come back, they ask for me. Doesn't work, okay? Make this a rule. You log everything. You attempt to log everybody, okay? If they say, no, I'm not giving you my phone number, it's okay, guys. No problem. You don't have to. I'll be happy to answer your questions. Just, my name is Mico. That's my card. What can I do for you, okay? But try, okay? Go for it. Go that just swing once. If it doesn't work, that's fine now. Maybe you can swing again later. So log them in. Now, when people walk in, unless they tell you they're here to test drive specific model, a lot of times they will start with questions. Encourage that. Encourage them to ask questions, okay? How can I help? What questions did you guys have? Did you want to look some cars? Did you have a question? Oh, you here to look at a Toyota Corolla? Great. You had some questions about this, or you're familiar with the car? Kind of like maybe multiple choice to get the right approach. Hey, have you just driven the car, or have you owned one before? This is the first time. Kind of like 2 choices, 3 choices. And this helps people answer you, and then the answer will help you put them into the right funnel within your process. Now, if you do ask them if you have any questions, let them ask the question and always answer it. Now, there's a trick to it. First of all, short answer, and once you finish your short answer, don't wait. Don't let them ask another question. You ask a question. You answer their question. Now they have to answer a question. So they ask, "You guys have any Corollas in white?" I'm sure we can accommodate that. By the way, have you test driven the new Corolla? Okay. That's another thing that maybe definitely will do separate video on questions, but. This was another kind of like an exercise I did with the same sales trainer, was that we played a game where the purpose of the game was to answer every question with a question. And the idea, the real purpose is to show you how hard it is for people not to answer questions, how hard it will be for you not to answer questions, and instead to turn around and for you to get their information. So the purpose of you turning around and starting questions is to get information from them, but also, and probably more important, would be to let them express themselves so you can listen to them. People love to talk, okay? I'm talking right now. I'm loving it, right? I don't know if you're even watching, but I'm loving it. I'm enjoying myself. So, because I like to share my information, I like to help other people. So people maybe they don't talk to help you, but they just talk to express themselves. They think they have a funny story. They think you laugh at their experience. You commiserate. It's a connection thing. People love to connect. Everybody wants to connect, or maybe it will boost their significance. So they tell you how, something was great. They did something great. They got a great deal on their previous car, something like this. And if you just this is great. This is amazing how you did this. Just encourage them for that. This is building rapport. Okay, you think it's wasting time? It's never wasting time. It's, of course, there'll be some crazy people. Every dealership has this crazy customer that comes in once a week and somebody has to deal with them, but that's an outlier. Usually, every time the customer's talking and telling you a story, that's a benefit to you. It's going to improve your relationship. They will like you better. It's going to make everything easier. Now, I said, when they ask something, you have to answer. Be prepared to answer. Drill frequently asked questions. Okay? This is extremely important, and we'll do a separate video on drilling and practicing. But if you get the same questions at least twice, maybe you're a new salesperson, you just started a few days, and then you got two customers ask the same question. This is frequently asked question. You have to drill how to answer it. For example, what's your best price? Okay, somehow they walked in, you're around a used car specifically, maybe they came to see a specific used car, they look at that used car, what's your best price on this car? What are you going to say? Are you going to be, I don't know, how much you want to pay? Or, I don't know, let me go ask my manager. Or, no, just list price is the best price. Okay, because if you're not ready, chances that you're going to answer correct, well, there's no correct answer, but chances that your answer will help you in your process are slim. Okay, you have to improve those chances. And how do you improve those chances? Write down answers to frequently asked questions and drill them. Drill with yourself. Okay, if you cannot find another salesperson that is on the same state as you and wants to be successful, if you cannot find somebody like that, record yourself. Okay, take your laptop, take your phone, record yourself. What's your best price? Sir, absolutely, I guarantee will get you not only best price, but will get you the best finance term and the best value as much as I can get you for your trade. By the way, are you thinking of selling your trade? Would really love to have your car. What can you tell me about your trade? So I answered the question. Okay, I really didn't answer, but I answered, and that's another. It's a really simple psychological trick. It doesn't matter. They used to say it doesn't matter what you say, it's how you say it. It doesn't matter what you say, doesn't matter how you say it, as long as you answered something. As long as you answered the question and you did not let the customer think and ask you another question, you asked them a question. Okay. Of course, there will be some outlier, like this 0.5% that is going to be, okay, stop this nonsense. I'm not talking unless you're giving me your best price. It's possible, okay? But we build the whole process for the 99%, and that's what's actually going to happen. And outliers don't matter. Outliers just prove that the whole thing works in general, all right? So know what your frequently asked questions and be ready to answer them. And one answer, so first of all, what's your best price? Okay, that's a big one. What's your lease special? Okay, how much is the lease on this car? Same thing, be ready to answer. How you can answer this? How can you answer the question like that? First of all, it tells you something about a customer. So you can learn from the customer just from their questions. You can learn, is that an experienced customer? How difficult they're going to be? But you can answer a question like that as well, okay? If you're ready to answer it. How can you be ready? We have lease specials on the new Corolla starting from $99 a month, and sometimes we can even get you a better deal than that. By the way, have you driven this car? Have you leased the Toyota before? Do you know how leases work? Okay? So again, you answer the question, you move around and keep going. Sometimes customers start asking questions that kind of can put you in the corner if you really answer. For example, yeah, we came here to see the new Honda Accord. Do you have a white Accord with manual transmission? Okay, so what's going to happen now? If you're not ready, you can answer, no, we don't have it. Or you can answer, okay, I'm going to find out. And then chances are we don't have it. But now you stop the process. You leave the customer alone, and you interrupt the whole process of becoming a friend with the customer. Instead, there's a really simple answer that the different trainer taught me. We can accommodate that. What does it mean? Well, you asked me, yeah, I'm looking for BMW diesel wagon with the V10 engine. Do you have something like that? We can accommodate that. Have you driven the new BMW wagon? Have you owned BMW before? What are you trading right now? What are you driving right now? Did you drive from far? Doesn't matter. We can accommodate that. Move on. Okay? How can we accommodate that? We can show you something comparable. Okay? It's not going to be V10. Maybe it's just going to be something else. Maybe it's not going to be diesel. It's going to be close enough. Okay? I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to trick the customer right in this scenario. But this answer, I answered something and I move on. When you ask questions, another thing that's important, kind of goes without saying, but for some salespeople, it needs to be said, especially if your mindset is not set correctly. So I'll give an example. If you think and if you have 20 minutes and you need to decide whether you stay with this customer or you got to help somebody else, your appointment comes in, and you ask them, "Yeah, are you trading this Mercedes? Can you tell me something about that?" And now you're thinking, you just asked the question. In your head, you're thinking about something else. They're talking and you're not listening. If you're not listening, you're missing out and you're risking killing the sale, because if they feel that you're not listening, if you ask again or you forget, you didn't listen to what they said, again, customers can feel in general your mood, but this is something concrete. They already told you something about the car and you ask again. What does it mean? It means you're not listening to them. If you don't listen to me when I'm your client, that's a big no. Okay, so listen. And another thing, don't rely on your memory. Take notes. Pull out. If you walk around with a clipboard, is a little bit too much, but maybe a notepad, maybe like a small book, like a journal. A tablet will look nice, very professional. I would not recommend using a phone, because then you're kind of looking at the phone and there's a negative connotation to that. So phone, probably not good, but there's nothing wrong with making notes. Okay. Hey guys, welcome to Toyota of Seattle. My name is Mico. What's your name? Alice and Tom. Alice and Tom. You wrote it down. Okay. Now, you're not going to have to ask again. You're not going to have to use mental tricks to remember their name. You wrote it down. You forgot their name? Alice and Tom. Okay? And is it going to look bad? No, it's not going to look bad. It's going to look like you really care. You write it down. Okay, how can I help you today? Well, we're here to look at HRV and VHR. HRV and VHR. Great. Both great choices. Let's see what we can find. Have you seen one of these cars? Have you had a Honda before? Move on. Okay, so ask questions, but when you ask, you listen and you take you take notes. Some of those questions will move the process along, let you take the temperature of the whole interaction and of the customer. And those are kind of like test closing questions. And this kind of, a lot of people think that sales is all about closing. Closing, I will do a video on closing. Probably going to be the shortest video, because closing starts, remember ABC, always be closing. It doesn't mean that you have to close and close and close. It means that your process of closing starts when you said hello. Your process of closing starts when you smile at the customer. Okay, that's when the process starts. But back to this, test closing questions are, again, I already asked them, some of them, but for example, will this be your first Toyota? Okay, that's a test closing question, because it's test closing, but also it's guiding and it's hypnotizing and programming the customer. Well, they didn't tell you to buy a Toyota, but you kind of assume, okay, we don't know which model yet, but will this be your first Toyota? They think, yeah, well, I never had a Toyota before, so I guess it will be my first Toyota. So now if they told you, yeah, this will be my first Toyota, Glenn, you already closed, you already got one check mark. Are you thinking of trading your car today? Or just are you thinking of trading your car? Well, maybe they didn't think about this, but now it becomes real. Do I want to trade my car? Well, I guess I could trade my car. Well, I'll be interested to see what you say. So now you move in the process along. Now, before you go on a demo, you can start the appraisal process. It's going to save you time and show that you're proficient and efficient and know what you're doing. Why did you choose Honda? Okay, somebody walks into a Honda dealership, you say they drove a Dodge, so they don't have a Honda, you assume, right? Maybe you're wrong, but it's a totally fine question to ask. I'm curious, why are you choosing Honda? Why did you choose Honda? And again, the customer not going to think, wait, did I choose Honda? You did not ask, did they choose Honda? You asked why. So they're going to think, okay, I chose Honda. What was the reason I chose Honda? Well, they're reliable. My cousin has one. They look great. Okay, those are the answers. Yeah, great, good choice. Get them talking about their trade. If but that's the same thing. Just keep them talking. Remember how it said, why did you choose Honda? And they told you, that's great. Those are valid points, and you made a great choice. Whatever they tell you, validate their choice. Well, are you thinking of trading your car? Yeah, I think I'll trade this Mercedes. That's a great choice. Right now, the market is really good, and our used car manager really needs those cars because of whatever reason. Okay, validate their choice. Great choice. Totally understand. Very smart of you. Are you thinking of financing or leasing? We're thinking of leasing. Great choice. Very smart. You don't want to sink a lot of money into the car, into depreciating assets. Okay, I like that. Let's move on. Get some objections. If you get objections early, a lot of times people would not ask those questions because they're afraid to get objections. For example, well, if I ask about a trade, and again, that's a tricky conversation. Some questions about a trade are no, okay? But let's say you ask the customer, are you thinking of trading the car you drove in? So some people would not ask that because they're afraid that the customer is going to say, yes, I'm thinking of trade, and I'm not buying anything unless you give me $25,000 for this car. Can you do that? So first of all, we can accommodate that, remember? Second of all, this is great. You want to get those objections out early. And then when the process moves along, you can validate their feeling, validate them, remind them, and you kind of can bring those objections out again. But now you bring them out and you working with them. So for example, we're moving along, but let's say this is what happened. Are you thinking of trading this Mercedes? Yes, I'm thinking of trading, and unless I get $25,000 for it, I'm not buying a car. Okay, we can accommodate that. Your car certainly looks great. You test drove, you pick the car, test drove, appraise the car, come back, sit down. Used car manager brings the thing and tells you that car has bad Carfax, frame damage, deployed airbags, and salvage title, and the car's worth $9,000. Okay, so you come to the customer and tell them, listen, I know you said you want $25,000, and I understand that. I understand that this is a great looking car. However, this is what's going on with your car. I'm just being open with you. This car, this happened, this, and that. Based on that, your car is worth $9,000. And just move on to something else. But you had that objection before, and you could work on this differently instead of something coming up when you're already starting to close and you're trying to make a deal, and then it comes out. So it's not a bad thing if those objections come up early. For example, if somebody, you meet the customer and you're not even asking them, or you ask, like I said, will this be your first Toyota? Sometimes the customer on guard, I'm not buying anything today because I need to talk to my wife. Okay, that's an objection. That's a valid objection. That's an important objection. Doesn't mean you're going to stop your process, but you flushed it out. Now you're making friend, say absolutely no problem. You don't have to buy anything today. My job is to make your visit useful and efficient or whatever, and to help you out pick the right car. Move on. And then after everything, you picked a car, they test drove a car. If you did your job right, you can kind of feel that everything's going great. So listen, I know you said you need your car to agree to your purchase. Is there something we can do around this? Can we call her? How about we drive this car to your wife to show it to her? A lot of times that objection will disappear because if I love the car and I call my wife, my girlfriend, listen, I know you wanted to see it. I really like this car. This car is great. It's a great deal. What do you think? What do you think she's going to say? As long as you ask for her opinion, most likely it's going to work out. So the point is, it's okay to flush those objections early. Obviously, a lot of this is building rapport. Okay, we're using neuro-linguistic programming, which we'll talk about separately, but all those things, like remember I told you when you don't confront the customers, if customers looking not at you but looking this way, you stand sideways and you look this direction as well. Okay, what does it do? It builds rapport. They start to like you. When you listen to them, they start liking you. When they feel that you're friendly and you nod and you say great choice, they like you more. Building rapport. This is the this is a huge part of this whole thing. You manage their state in general, they feel better. They feel better about the dealership. They feel better about this experience, and they feel better about you. They like you. They associate you with good things. And the purpose of this whole thing, this whole meet and greet, is it's worth nothing unless you transfer it to demo, and demo will be the next video. Thanks for watching.